On this week's episode, we discuss Night Road by Kristin Hannah. We also reflect back on our times in high school, which seems very long ago. Happy listening. Welcome to this week's episode of the Books, Booze, and BS podcast. We will be talking about Night Road by Kristin Hannah. Today, I am joined by Brendan, Lynn, and Sarah. Everyone say hi.
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 Hello.
What's everyone drinking tonight? We'll start with Sarah.
I am drinking a delicious little thing. My husband had a business trip in Boston and went to the Trillium Brewery. And so we got beers, but they also just started doing craft cocktails. And so I grabbed a 4-pack, and it's called the Cape Codder. It's vodka, cranberry, and lime. Normally, I'm very disappointed when breweries do cocktails, and this is quite amazing. And the label's really pretty.
That sounds delightful.
Yes.
That's good news for B for the next time he goes to Trillium.
Yeah. And again, I only got one because I didn't want to, or one 4-pack, but they had a lot of different, they had seltzers, they had a couple mixed drinks. I think they had a gin and tonic-y sort of thing. I can't remember. There's quite a few to choose from. So.
Awesome. Lynn, What are you drinking?
Oh, I'm not drinking. No, I'm kidding. I am drinking a sour gose from OEC.
Excellent. I was going to say, we have another Christina Carpenter and Justin Bieber.
No comment.
B, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Fabrizia Italian lemonade spiked. So it's vodka, limoncello, and lemon juice.
Ooh.
It's actually
that sounds lovely.
It's more tart than I think I would have guessed, but that's actually what I really like because I really like a San Pellegrino limonata. So this is kind of like the boozy version of that. So I'm pleased.
That would actually go perfectly with this week's cookie.
It would.
And I'm drinking the same thing. We got, I think, a 4-pack of this when we were in New Hampshire at the tax-free booze store. So thought we'd both give it a try. Also, I think it's delicious too.
I do think it would be better while being submerged in a pool, but
almost. We're almost there. It's going to be in the 80s this week. I think everyone made the dessert of the week. Well, Brendan didn't, but I made them, so he got to eat them. For the listeners, it was a lemon raspberry cookie. Lynn, what were your thoughts on it?
So it was good, but it wasn't my favorite. I think because of the way the recipe is set up, where it has baking soda and baking powder, and just there was a lot of liquid in it. It created almost like a cakey cookie, and I'm much more of I like a denser, chewy with crisp edges type cookie. So the flavor was good. My family loved it. They absolutely devoured it. And my mother was here today to watch my kids, so I was able to give her cookies as a thank you. And so they were good. I just don't think I would make them again. There's the other lemon cookie that we made, I liked a lot more. I will say if you do end up making this, I found adding white chocolate chips to be it really did help. I thought that was a great addition, which was in the recipe itself as a suggestion.
Sarah?
So mine were not cakey. Mine were pretty flat, looked kind of like the picture. However, so I liked them. They were tasty, but so I used the frozen raspberries, and it didn't tell you to chop them at all. So there were giant raspberries in them that then made some of the cookies soggy, in my opinion.
Yes.
Which my dad, and I quote him, "Are you sure these are cooked all the way?" While everyone else at the party was raving about them and devouring them and absolutely obsessed with them. Some of my friends and family members, I've never seen them so excited about a cookie. So it's a big hit. They were gone within minutes. I just agree with Lynn. I was skeptical about them, and I wanted the raspberries to be chopped up more. So,
and I think the ones that I made mine today, and I think it was somewhere in the middle of Lynn's cookies and Sarah's cookies with texture. I do think there was an issue with the frozen raspberries causing too much liquid, and because I put them in for 2 minutes longer than the recipe asked for, because they still didn't look quite done. But I think it's because of the liquid coming off the frozen raspberries.
However, I had two of them. One was a very gooey, not mess, but kind of a mess, and the other one was more of the cakey version, and I preferred the gooey version, especially with the big hunk of raspberry.
Interesting. I liked the cookies that didn't have a big hunk of raspberry, but it still wasn't that cakey, but it was more just like chewy cookie. It's very interesting how different these are.
Well, I think it's I did one sheet on the top rack and one on the bottom rack, so I think that's why they came out very different.
I did what she had said, and I think she said to put one in the fridge.
Oh, she did say that.
And so my ones that were in the fridge, I think, baked better than my first batch.
Interesting.
Oh, and in excitement, though, I did get a cookie scoop finally, and it was a very fun tool.
How did Craig feel about this addition to the kitchen?
He wasn't pleased, but then he suggested I buy the more expensive one if I was going to be buying it. So it made me happy.
Which was what, like $2?
No, it was OXO versus the Target brand, and it was like $10 more.
Oh.
I love my cookie scooper, so I'm glad you made the investment.
The Target one broke while we were in the store, and I was trying to use it. So
oh my god!
Like, no, just put that down. I'm very excited to have it, and everyone.
I think I have the KitchenAid version.
I got the OXO version because they usually are great.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know which ones we have, but we have two of them. I think it's a tablespoon and a 2 tablespoon scoop.
Yeah.
Does Kufandy also make kitchen goods, or is that only generic men's clothes on Amazon?
I think that's just generic men's clothes. Wow. What was everyone's best bite of the week? B.
All right, so I have two, but I think one might steal yours, maybe. So I'm gonna go.
Give both.
Okay. Well, with everyone else in the world over the last week, I too had egg salad sandwich, and we had a value purchase of mayo in the house for a little while until I was like, I cannot eat this ever again. We need to have Hellman's back. And then I made the egg salad, and it was such good egg salad. It's such a difference. So that was actually a really good bite, and I had that on just regular white bread. So basic but tasty. And we succumbed to TikTok pressure and had the Domino's slice dipping sauce, which was actually pretty good.
What does it taste like?
It's like a garlicky Parmesan zesty ranch.
That would be really good on pizza.
But it actually tasted really well with their pizza too. And it was the pan pizza, not like the hand tossed garbage, like the old school.
Trash. Lynn, best bite?
I went to the blue and white game this weekend, and when I was there, I ordered the beignets. And as soon as I ordered them, I knew they were going to be good because the guy turned around and threw a whole bunch of dough into the oil. So they were made fresh. Covered them with powdered sugar. They were these little pillows of just absolute heaven. It was 5 for $8. I ate 2 and I had to tap out. So the rest of my family finished them. But they were super good. The game was disappointing because they don't actually play a game at the blue and white game anymore, which is really sad. But the beignets were definitely a bright spot.
What do they do?
You just watch a practice. So they're just running drills. They're running up and down the field.
What fun.
Jake loved watching the cheerleaders, so I'll leave it at that.
No.
Sarah, best bite.
So my sister and I, often for Easter, we make our Easter sugar cookies, the type that are cut out with a cookie cutter, decorated with frosting. I hadn't done it in a couple of years, so we did it this year. And the key part that I think makes the cookies taste so good is that we do, the traditional Easter bunnies and eggs, but then we also do like dinosaurs and cats and llamas.
Yes, dinosaurs.
Dinosaur is like one of the best cookies in the world. So
we are firmly a dinosaur family right now. Yeah. We are deep into our dinosaur era.
Yeah, it's to the point that like people in my family look for the dinosaurs because they know there'll be a dinosaur on one of the trays. So
I'm going to need you to send me a link to the cookie cutter because that sounds amazing.
Oh, I think this cookie cutter is probably from the 90s. Well, I'm sure they have packs of them. It's a Brontosaurus, the one I use, but
I think that leaves me for best bite. I think it was a relatively okay week of eating, but it's probably going to go to the Domino's sauce because it was really good. I want to try it with cheesy bread.
Yum. I haven't had cheesy bread.
I love that you and B are very adventurous eaters. Like every single time I talk to you, we tried something absolutely brand new.
Are you calling Domino's an adventurous eat?
Well, no, but like I would never. I don't know. I get kind of set in my ways with like I wouldn't order Domino's dipping sauce, or I tend to just sort of stick to what I like.
You got
Also,
to
I feel
fall
like that's
into
the
our
first
side
time.
of TikTok. After days of
that's it.
try it, you're like, oh, I must try it.
Oh, I'm currently on the side of TikTok right now, which is showing the Coachella food poisoning fiasco.
What's that?
So there is a pizza place that was super popular at Coachella. So they had like hour-long lines and people were like waiting and waiting and waiting. And everyone that ate the spicy pie, they referred to sorry, TMI for anyone listening, but they referred to the porta potty area as a shitty sauna.
Oh, no.
Sounds delightful.
So evidently my TikTok thinks I want human suffering, whereas B has delicious snacks.
We need to get your algorithm fixed.
Yeah. Send me some puppy videos.
We can handle sending some animal videos over. All right, so I think that brings us into our discussion of Night Road by Kristin Hannah. We'll go roundtable per usual, things you liked, things you didn't like, any passages or quotes that really stood out to you. Let's start with Sarah.
Sure. So I really liked it, even though some people gave me shade because I only gave it a 4 stars, which I gave it a 4.5 on Storygraph. I really like it. The writing was amazing. It was nostalgic, but then you're in the thing and then all of a sudden the storyline crushes you because it's so sad. I was very engrossed in the stories line that I didn't see any of the twists coming, which was surprising to me. So spoiler alert, turn it off if you haven't read it yet. But like I didn't see the fact that Lexi was the one that was driving, didn't see when she was going to be pregnant. They all blindsided me basically. And I really liked most of the characters. I loved the side characters a lot, especially Aunt Eva and Scott. I loved Lexi the most. Jude annoyed me from the get-go. I'm pretty sure I wrote groan multiple times in my notes. And it wasn't even just the helicopter mom aspect that annoyed me. It was actually after Mia dies that she annoyed me even more, which again, I know grief is different for everyone, but she just was irritating the way I don't know. I don't know how to articulate it. I know other people have similar feelings, so I'll let them talk about it. And then Zach also irked me a lot. The fact that he was so in love with this girl and he did nothing to try to protect her really and I know he was only 18 or 17, but throughout the whole story and all the time jumps, I felt bad for him. And he definitely was dealt a crappy card, but he just irked me. One thing that I loved about this book was the different perspectives. And I especially loved when Grace, their daughter, got her own perspective. One of my favorite quotes in the whole entire book is when we first get her perspective. I think it's the first time you're seeing things through Grace's eyes, and she's in kindergarten, and they're walking as a class to the beach, and she said, "The big pillows of her teacher's butt." And it just made me laugh so hard because Grace was just such a cool character, I thought, to capture a kindergartner's point of view, and the way that she was able to describe her family, I thought was really cool. The fact that she was scared of Jude, that she felt no love from her. You got that perspective of it, which I thought was brilliant for Kristin Hannah to do it in that way. And then I think That was basically, I did all the parallels, seeing how Jude's mom reacted to loss when she was younger and how cold and bitter she was. And then seeing how Jude was becoming, and even just the parallels of society, the fact that Lexi right away was at a disadvantage because she didn't have money, she didn't have a family from wealth. And then, even when Jude was like, well, she did drugs in prison, the drugs she did were the same things that Jude was taking to help with her depression, so there was a lot of those parallels that were quite interesting to point out as a society as a whole. So I'll let someone else talk now, but I did like it a lot.
We will move to Lynn.
Yeah, so I agree full-heartedly, Sarah. I am going to kind of repeat some of what you said because I want to dig in a little deeper because definitely agree. So this was a tough one for me. I actually almost didn't finish this. And it wasn't because the book was badly written or because I didn't relate. It was actually the opposite. I related way too closely and really wasn't ready to deal with the emotions that this novel tackled. And ironically, that avoidance of bad feeling was the crux of the conflict of this book. And while I'm glad I tackled the book head on, confronting those bad emotions was scary. But this book is a bit like therapy. So I've dealt with grief in my life. I lost someone I was extremely close to and linked to in a very complicated and painful way, and I'm still mourning them in the situation 5 years later. I lost a pregnancy, which isn't like losing an 18-year-old child, but it's also complicated and grief-inducing. And I lost a family member I cared about to suicide, which leaves just everyone around you absolutely devastated. And this all happened one after another under extremely complicated circumstances. So in the aftermath, I actually had to learn how to grieve. I did the same thing that the Faradays did. I repressed my feelings, I repressed my memories, and I learned that that wouldn't lessen the pain. It just prolonged it. When I was finally able to confront my grief, I still had to go through it from start to finish. I couldn't skip to the end, even after all that time went by. So grief can be like breaking a bone. You have to set it right or it can ache forever. That really resonated with me. It's just so real. I had to actively choose to heal, which is why I just wasn't ready to dive back into that process in this book. But I'm glad I did. Usually I gravitate towards stories where the conflict is something outward. It's the characters triumph and everyone feels good. But books like these have their purpose. If you're struggling, and it can get you into a mindset where you can confront those feelings. And this is a good way for you to confront and get past the bad going on in your life. So I did a lot of therapeutic crying while reading this. But I do have some criticisms, which I'll get into. So I was in the interesting position of being able to relate to both of the main characters. Lexi, because I too was a hopeless romantic who graduated in 2004, pining after someone who was just out of reach due to circumstances outside my control. And now I'm a mom who's entering her 40s, deeply involved in her kid's life. But it means the unrealistic parts did stick out to me. Harping on the less than a mile away was ridiculous to me. I was a high school senior in 2004. I would have walked like 4 miles in the bitter cold in February to not drink and drive. None of those kids considered walking home in June. And the pleading of guilty was also just a fiasco. The timeline was just super short, and understanding the legal process, it just didn't make sense. And maybe I can suspend belief that they would allow parents to speak after the guilty plea, but just giving out an open mic to anyone who wanted to speak. And also, if you are pregnant in jail, they are not allowed to cuff you. So that a lot of those, I feel like she could have done a little more research into her story in order to get the different pieces right that were important pieces. Also, I just hated how passive everyone was. Lexi let everyone walk over her. Even prison didn't help her grow a spine. And Zach just let his mother dictate his entire life in into his mid-20s, to where Lexi needed to make amends with Jude before starting things back up with him. He gave me such the ick. I get that he was ashamed of the role he played and he felt he didn't deserve her, but he let her reunite with her and her daughter when she wanted to. He did not deserve her. And he was the problem. He was the reason why all the bad things happened. He was the designated driver. He got blasted drunk without a backup plan, and he talked Lexi out of any solution that wasn't Lexi driving him home. It was his bad choices that led him here, and yet he never was held to any sort of justice. His parents raised his daughter. He got to be a doctor, and he even lived out of his parents' second house. And I do think this characterizes a very important theme about how law is different in this country based on your socioeconomic class. And this is where I'm going to repeat what Sarah said, but dig in a little deeper. Lexi had to pay for her crimes because she was a poor kid from foster care. Lexi had to stay in jail because she got postpartum depression and no help. Lexi couldn't see her child because she couldn't pay a social worker. It just emphasizes how once you're poor, it is so hard to get out of it. She couldn't get a job. She couldn't get a place to live, whereas everything was handed to Zach. Lexi and Zach both contributed to Mia dying, and yet only Lexi's future was destroyed. Zach and Lexi both made a baby, but only Lexi had to pay and grovel and work to see her daughter. And then again, I'm going to copy some of Sarah's points, but I did love the symbolism in this book. One was the gardening, and I interpreted that as symbolizing Jude's control. Everything was planned and meticulous, and even the flower that Lexi bought June back before Mia died did not fit in her perfect garden because Lexi didn't fit in Jude's perfect life. The flower garden going to shit highlights all the destruction of Jude's perfect life and her grasping control. And then finally, Lexi gifting Jude Mia's favorite flower represents just how important Lexi was actually to their family dynamic since the beginning. And then there was the ring, the purchase of the unfinished graduation ring for Mia, and then the promise ring given from Zach to Lexi, and these happened concurrently. I just interpreted this as broken promises and connections. And I did like how both Lexi and Jude resented their mother's mistakes and then were doomed to repeat them. So that was a lot. All in all, this book made me reflect a lot. It made me cry so much, and it really made me feel. This is not a light read. It is about tearing a world down and then rebuilding.
I guess B's got a lot to follow up with here.
I'm not going to be nearly as eloquent as Lynn, but I will say a lot of what you both said, I'm not going to repeat for like a third time, but I do agree with everything you guys have said. Jude, I think I could tell early on, obviously, but when she said that she was going to offer to walk her daughter to her locker on the first day of school, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I could see my mom saying that as a joke, to be like, haha, I'll do that, completely as a joke, like normal people. But that was a true, serious comment that was made. I was like, I'm not going to like this woman. And while I am not, surprisingly, ever been a mother, I pretty much feel like the majority of Jude's behavior throughout the entire book was just obnoxious. She did have...
Oh, fuck Jude as a mother.
She had like the slightest redemption arc at the very end, like her little come to Jesus moment, which, yes, without her, she wouldn't have seen the child. She would like, so I suppose there's the tiniest bit of redemption, but it kind of just felt like a little too late. And I thought she was pretty selfish throughout the entire book. Like, while she was doing everything for her kids, it felt like it was more of her trying to make a statement for herself than actually necessarily caring about those things. It was more like, I'm going to be better than my mom. And never...
If you could hear me clapping, I would be.
But also, like, she was so mad at her mom, but never really stopped to think ever that, oh, you stopped your passion when dad died. Oh, you didn't, like, hello? Like, yes, again, horrible situations that happen, but I have to imagine there's got to be some compassion at some point, that it's not like, 30, 40 years, and it's like, oh, that's why you were upset and stopped doing the things you love and we didn't talk as much. Oh, okay, surprise. I also felt Zach could have been a good character development situation, but I kind of felt like, and not saying he'd be a good character, because he did a lot of annoying things too. I didn't really get his aloofness. Like, I felt like that could have been explored a little bit more. Like, maybe there was a reason for some of the reactions, but there's just no story there. but like the way he reacted to Lexi, like the whole family considered her family. He loved her, and then it was just not even a look at her. And especially what was said at the hearing, I was just like, okay, so maybe they'll stay connected. Nope, just forget it. Didn't care. And then when he was drinking at the parents' house, I was like, so he's gonna drink and then drive his daughter home. And even if it's one beer's not crazy, but did they learn nothing? Like, I feel like if I was in that scenario, I would probably never drink again. Gasp. If I did drink again, I would never drink and then drive. You know, just seems like a smart. Not that I drink and drive now, but just want to clarify.
Yay, Uber.
Yeah. But it just seemed like that stuff irked me. On the flip side of that, huge shout outs to Miles and especially Eva. Those two were wonderful. I really liked Miles. Although again, like he said, gave a great speech for Lexi at the trial and then disappeared. That felt a little weird. Also, justice for Gracie. I just the whole time I'm like, none of these people deserve this poor child. I'm glad Lexi got back into her life, but even then, I thought Lexi was a little weird. Although I think they kind of explained that better, as in she just didn't know how to be a mom and she was scared. So I kind of gave that some credit. But I really, I did love the book. I did give it 5 stars on Goodreads. I couldn't put it in the 4-star category. As I look at all the books I've given 4 stars, I'm like, maybe it's not a 6-star read like other Kristin Hannah books like Nightingale and The Women, but I really liked it. And I think that one of the things that she does so well is that there is such a long buildup in the beginning of the stories where you're kind of like, do we really need to hear all about this stuff? But it really does immerse you in their lives to the point where anything happens, it just feels like it's happening to you. So I do love the way that she writes. However, I really would have thought that last bit where it was like, okay, everyone's happy ever after now, we're done, happened a little too quick. I feel like that could have been maybe one more chapter, but I really did like it.
So I guess it leaves me, right?
Yeah.
I usually go last. I usually give quotes and passages because everyone usually says everything I was going to say. But I will be the fourth person to say, fuck Jude. Like, she was awful. and like B said, like the minute her first chapter and like I could see the helicopter parenting, I'm like, oh, she's going to be an awful character to be in the perspective of. And like, yes, she changed throughout the book, but she still stayed fucking terrible. Like, almost till the end. And like, yes, she had like a mini redemption arc, but not enough where I'm like, okay, she's fine. No, still, fuck Jude. And I think I'm gonna like argue with B a little bit. I did not like Miles because I feel like he didn't do enough to try to fix the situation.
Agree. I agree with that. But in the grouping, he at least tried, which I was like, at least someone said something. But
he at least hugged his granddaughter.
Yes.
And I'm going to support B here because I felt like Miles did whatever he could. He couldn't force his wife to get better. He couldn't force his son to essentially redeem himself. He just continued to say, hey, here is the correct path forward. Here's how we get better. Here's how we become a family again. But he did stick by his wife, his son. He did what he was supposed to do in his family. Also, he sounded sexy as fuck and he couldn't get it.
Dog, so, you know.
Didn't they say he had long hair at one point?
I don't remember that.
He's a doctor.
It doesn't matter what you're saying.
He can do whatever he wants. Everything that was described about his body.
The doctor's long hair isn't like gross, straggly, bar trash hair.
Trash. But I'll get into some of my quotes. We've all talked about how we like the way that Kristin Hannah writes. And so one of her early descriptions was bread crust colored hills. And I was like, I could actually like pinpoint what that color would look like if I was looking out a window, like if I was on a train seeing like going through like the Midwest. Also early was when Lexi gets to the camper or the trailer, she kind of describes it nicely. Like, she talks about the color of the door being bright and like the size of it being larger than she expected. And then Jude drives up a couple of pages later and says the front door was an ugly shade of blue and cracked up the middle, and the curtains inside were ragged and unevenly hemmed. Rust inched like caterpillars along the seams. So it just showed the difference between Lexi being happy about it and Jude like, ooh, this is where you live? Gross. One quote or one passage with Lexi. Lexi had learned the truth about love then, how close it could be to hate and how it could empty you out. I thought that was really well written. One thing I didn't quite grasp, and I didn't think this would be realistic, was Jude taking her kids or having a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party for them. That just did not seem to fit their dynamic at all. Did anyone else pick up on that?
If that's what all the other people were doing of the time, think about when you were little, like that was like what you did.
I had McDonald's birthdays. I have a picture of me and Lynn at McDonald's. One other quote, silence felt manageable, words did not. I thought that was nice. And I think this is one of the times when Lexi finally got her backbone when she said to Jude, I gave you my freedom and my daughter, and still you want more. Well, fuck you, Jude. You don't get any more. Grace is my daughter, my Mia.
I wrote that one down too.
I loved that moment, but then I hated that she just reneged on it.
Yep.
And then I think Lynn had mentioned this one. I read somewhere that grief can be like breaking a bone. You have to set it right or it can ache forever.
That is such a good quote.
It is. But that's all I had. Did you cast anyone to play any of the characters? I will start with Sarah.
So, smarty pants, I actually did. Jude, well, first off, I told Mike right away that in the first couple pages, they described Jude as Michelle Pfeiffer. And I'm like, I don't even have to cast anyone. However, I didn't see her as a Michelle Pfeiffer. To me, I kept on picturing Reese Witherspoon in the role just because she can do that like sassy and uptight really well, but still be a little likable to like her peers.
Well, the character kind of seems like it was the same one Reese played in Little Fires Everywhere.
I never watched that, but I know she plays that role, and then I read it. So, yes. So I feel like that could be that. And then I kept on picturing Lexi, and it worked as old and young, but I was picturing when they were in high school. Well, clearly when they were in high school, but the sisterhood of the traveling pants. So I had Lexi as Alexis Bledel and Mia as Blake Lively. And that, I think, could work. I think Alexis could work as a grown-up. I mean, we don't need Mia to be a grown-up, obviously, sadly. But they were just in my head. So,
anyone else?
I cast characters as well.
Go ahead.
I can jump in. So Miles, as being the guy that I thought was the sexiest. I also just wanted someone mature, in charge, but also with a softness. So I was thinking of John Hamm. Jude, I actually like Sarah's way better than mine. I was picturing more like an Anne Hathaway, only blonde, polished, but a little uptight. But I think Reese Witherspoon makes a lot more sense. Lexi, I was thinking Zendaya, just kind of that raw, rugged beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And Mia, I was thinking Amanda Seyfried, Amanda Seyfried, cheerful, innocent. And then Zach Austin Butler. I need to stop drinking as I'm recording these.
What's Austin Butler in?
Elvis.
Okay, and he was also in the Carrie Diaries, which is the weirdest thing in the world. I only caught like a couple episodes of it, but he was the heartthrob love interest, but he is just very Zach coded.
Yep.
B, any castings?
So I tried to go and cast it to my high school days. So I obviously wouldn't work at now, but like I just forced it to be like Freddie Prinze Jr. was Zach. And I actually did keep seeing Reese Witherspoon as Jude, though, so that kind of breaks out. But she is from that era.
Yep.
I tried to find a place for Sarah Michelle Gellar, but she wasn't fitting. But I kept having Emma Stone in as Mia.
I was going to say Sarah Michelle Gellar could be Jude's like best friend.
Yeah, what's her
Oh,
face?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Molly or whatever she was.
Yeah, I say Molly. There you go.
Yeah, that works.
So I, for Jude, had Allie Larder.
Oh, yep.
And I don't know if I just missed something, but I didn't get like the hot vibe from Miles. So I gave him, from one of B's and my favorite shows, Zachary Knighton, who played Dave Rose on Happy Endings.
And not to move back, but I completely forgot to say him. I kept picturing the dad from Family Ties as Miles. So definitely not in the sexy category either, but I forgot to say it. So, yay 90s.
For Mia, I had Elle Fanning.
Yep. I feel like we cast her in every book.
I know. And I feel like I cast this person almost in everyone too. For Lexi, Sophie Thatcher. She was in Yellow Jackets. She plays the young Jennifer. What's the druggy one from the show?
It's been so long, I can't remember.
She's in a bunch of like horror movies recently too. And I had a hard time trying to find someone for Zach. And I put a question mark. I put Kit Connor, and it just didn't really fit. And I just moved on from it.
Fail.
I know. Well, that's why I said question mark. It wasn't final. Did you find the ending satisfying, Sarah?
Not really. It was a little quick, like B said, kind of unrealistic. I mean, I like a happy ending, so I'm glad they were all together. But I feel like with depression and grief, you don't just flip a switch and now everyone's happy and everything's going to be okay. Like, I feel like there was more work to be done, and maybe there was, but it seemed as though, oh, we're all better. And, Lexi's sleeping over and we're a happy family again. It just, I almost wanted an epilogue where it was like,
yes,
where it was 13 years later and it's Grace's senior year or something, and we see a little bit more of what happened and how it worked, and hopefully it was a little more realistic. I mean, it could have still been a perfectly happy ending, but I don't know, it just felt very rushed to me.
Lynn?
I was just so disappointed that Zach never really fought for Lexi. He did, but not until after Jude had already softened to her. And I just didn't like that Jude and Zach really they never had to answer for their crimes and how they contributed to ruining her life. I can't believe Lexi willingly gave up her daughter again after seeing that she made Jude upset. I just was so disappointed in that. I wanted her to have more spunk, more fight. I also just didn't like that the quote unquote happy ending was Lexi depending on Zach, who was already depending on his parents. I was hoping that they would work to get Lexi a job at the gallery or something so she'd be able to stand on her own. If things don't work out between her and Zach and after their amazing 3-month relationship before they get back together, like she's back to the same spot. She's unemployed. She's homeless. It's depressing. It's a happy ending for now, but no real solution to the problems.
Brendan?
Yeah, I mean, same. If it just if it was just an additional chapter or even an epilogue, it just felt so unrealistic that you just can't resolve everything with like, oh, don't throw that away. I love you. Okay, we're good. So that just felt like, come on, give us a little something. We earned this. And I felt like there were so many times where, obviously, the book's called Night Road. There were so many times where there was drinking and potential driving. I'm like, I know what's going to happen. And they kept edging us to what was going to happen. I'm like, of all those times, you could have cut one of those out and just given us a little bit more on the ending. But maybe an author can tell us if just wrapping up a book is the hardest part or the easiest part, because it seems quite easy to just be like, okay, there we go. And
I don't know. Do we know an author?
I don't know.
I'm still trying to get past that B used the word edging to describe the situation.
Accurate, was it not?
I mean, I'm probably
very
author-wise, I'm probably not the best example because I usually know how the book's going to begin and end. I have to figure out what the middle is. So, I mean, I guess that would be maybe putting one less. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen in the middle, and saving some more context for the end? As someone who typically puts epilogues in their books. Yeah, I think I would say the same thing as everyone did about the ending. Not happy with how it ended, just because just how quickly Zach and Lexi got back together, but also leading up to that moment, Gracie was still kind of scared of Lexi. And then Lexi's sleeping in the house and she's like, "Oh, mommy's here." I'm like, no, this is completely unrealistic. She's essentially a stranger in this 3-month relationship that was paused for 5 years and then they got back together.
Everyone knows the strongest relationships go on for 3 months and then they break up and then get back together.
The funny thing,
like, come on.
The funny thing, though, as we all talk about this, is I actually really did enjoy the book, and I guess it's just easier to pick apart the things that stick out. But I will say I really did enjoy this book, despite all the nitpicky things I'm going after.
Yeah, same. Like, I'm saying all these things, but I read the book in like 2 or 3 days. Like, I powered through it.
Yeah,
so
and I think
liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree too, and I think that's part of it too. Is I think it was good to have a bad character like Jude. You know, like not a bad character, but like someone to hate and someone to like be annoyed by. And I agree. I read this in a couple of days and it's why I didn't see the twist coming, because I was just in it. You know.
And I'll say,
yeah,
Oh, go ahead, Lynn.
I just want to echo that she is an absolutely fantastic writer, and I think that I don't necessarily think that this book needed a satisfying ending. That's not how life is. Like, obviously, we're being nitpicky and kind of pointing out the holes in it, but I think that was kind of the purpose. It's not resolved. It's still ongoing because, to Sarah's point, grief is ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
It's also funny you say that, because I read it within 24 hours, and literally with the 11 minutes left in the book that my Kindle was telling me, I turned to Mike. I'm like, does anything disastrous happen, or am I in the clear? Because I truly felt like she could have pulled one more.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, if the daughter dies, I'm going to lose it. And I'm like, I truly thought that was a possibility.
And it wouldn't be put past Kristin Hannah to do something like that, to really fuck over her readers.
No spoilers.
But no, I mean, like, so I agree. Like, it didn't have to be a happy ending.
Agreed.
I'm glad it was.
Yeah. I was okay that it was. It made me feel nice. And that's one thing we didn't talk about. Well, we talked about a little bit, but with the accident, one thing, sorry, I'm going backwards now. Now we're not talking about the end. With the car accident, it really annoyed me that everyone blamed Lexi when literally everyone, all the main characters were to blame, including Mia, because she wasn't wearing her seatbelt. You know, Miles was checked out, you know, and then even still at the end, when Jude was like, and even Zach was like, it was all my fault. And then Jude's like, it's still Lexi's fault. I'm like, no, you guys are all to blame. You have to realize this. And it's just an accident. So that was one thing at the end that I felt like they still didn't realize.
Sarah, did this make you think of Marissa in the OC?
A little bit.
Spoiler.
From 20 years ago.
Having been through intense grief, like, I feel like she really glossed over the fact that you end up having so much anger at the person that has died. And that is just a part of grief. Like, that is just a normal thing that happens. But they should have been mad at Mia too.
Mm-hmm.
In order to make this like really a realistic grieving process.
Right. I agree.
Last question. Will you read more from Kristin Hannah, Lynn?
Most likely not. I'm not sure my mental health could handle it.
Sarah?
Yes. As we all know, and as some people on this call are very upset, I still haven't read really any of Kristin Hannah. And if this is an inkling of what's to come, I do like a good cry. I'm very excited. I know my top ones that I want to read are The Women, Nightingale, and The Great Alone. Those are like the 3 on my list that if I could read them tomorrow, I would. So, and just looking at her list, she has so many.
See?
I absolutely would. I think I only have the 4 wins of her newer series left, I think. And I hope she's going to come out with something new soon, because I do love the gut punch. It's painful but enjoyable.
I also love I I always tell people if I'm on the fence, giving it 4 or a 5 star, and you make me cry at the end, you get the star bump. I actually just finished a book the other day where it was going to be a 3.5, and not sure if it was going to get up to a 4, but then made me cry in the last 2 pages. So that book got the 4-star it deserved.
I will say, Lynn, I don't know if you've read The Nightingale or The Women. I think
I haven't. No.
Those two, I think, are her absolute best. I would say they're 6-star books, not 5-star books. But I do think that she has matured as a writer with those books. So I wouldn't have this dissuade you from reading more of her.
And it won't. I think I just need to be in the right frame of mind for it.
Yeah, maybe a couple years
for
from
you,
now.
I would stick with The Nightingale.
Okay. No, she's a fantastic writer. So if she has something that's less horrifically painful for me to read, I'd be more likely to jump back in.
Too. So I mean, hopefully you're a little bit more detached from that era.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a movie coming soon, so you have to get ready for it anyway.
You have to get ready.
You have to.
Which Elle Fanning is going to be in, so one of our casts would finally work out.
Is Elle Fanning playing Margot? And
yes. Which I'm reading that right now.
What was that?
I'm reading that right now.
I love that book.
Margot's got money problems.
Money troubles.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman's playing her mom.
Yeah, and Nick Offerman is in it too.
Yeah, going back to her books, I think The Great Alone is the only one of her recent ones I still have to read, and I had to go back and go through the backlog.
Yeah, I'm interested by like Firefly Lane. Like I feel like those are going to be good reads.
And there's a Netflix show that goes along with it.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that brings us to our new segment where we talk about books that we've been reading, and if you have any recommendations and what you're excited about reading coming up. Let's start with Lynn.
So I've been rereading lately. I reread the Bridgerton books because of all the drama about When He Was Wicked and the gender swap. So When He Was Wicked is going to be the next season, and they changed Michael to Michaela. So when I first read that book, I really liked Michael as a character because he was definitely consent king. He always got consent and was very focused on female pleasure. And Julie Quinn makes male leads kind of toxic. So he was a nice break. With all the drama around this book being the next out of order and then the gender switch, I wanted to reread it with that in mind. And honestly, just given the amount of attention given to female pleasure, the gender switch really makes a lot of sense. So I'm excited for the next season. My next read will be Shield of Sparrows. It's a bit more romantasy and a bit more world building, which is right up my alley, and it was recommended to me by Jesse's cousin.
Excellent. Sarah?
So for my current reads, my physical book, I just started reading Goodbye Days by Jeff Zettner. My ebook is Game Changer by Rachel Reed.
Excellent.
People are excited that I'm finally doing Heated Rivalry. And then my audiobook, I'm listening to the book The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater. I can't say her name to save my life, which is a really, so far, a very good audiobook. I'm really excited because Cherry Baby by Rainbow Rowell, I can't say anyone's name tonight, is coming out, I think, next week.
Tomorrow.
There we go. And then one of my next books is going to be, because I've talked about it on every podcast, is Crooked Kingdom, which is the second book in the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. Very excited to pick that one back up.
I'm like scanning my bookshelf because you asked me before if I had them. I'm trying to find them. They're somewhere.
Okay. Meanwhile, Sarah, I will point out that you and I are both going to read books with titles about birds.
B?
My current read is The Paris Match by Kate Claiborne. I am not too far into it, so I don't have too much of an opinion to share. Some of my recent reads that I've really enjoyed, Remarkably Bright Creatures, so read that in anticipation for the movie is it movie?
Yep,
movie
next month.
Coming out, I think that's Netflix, Sally Field. So I'm excited about that. And I also finally read The Guncle, which by Stephen Rowley, which was I thought a really great book. It was definitely more emotional than I anticipated. I thought it was going to be kind of a fun, silly book, and it definitely was not. But I really liked that. So, some good books.
Excellent. And so recently I've been reading, Sarah and I really enjoyed the Inheritance Games series, and I finally got around to reading the fourth and fifth one. And when I read the fourth one, is the Brothers Hawthorne. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. And I started thinking like, oh, does she need to keep writing these books? But then Games Untold with the sixth or the fifth one, and that one was actually better than the fourth one. So maybe she should keep writing them.
I just love them.
Speaking of other series that we've read in the past, the Maze Runner series had a new trilogy, and the third book finally came out, and it's just not great. Like that second trilogy is just not needed. I'm glad that's done. I don't have to read another one.
When you said the Inheritance Game, I definitely for a second thought you meant the Chris's murder game.
Oh.
And my brain just went, cousin sex.
No, I'm not reading any more about the cousin sex books. And then the book I did really enjoy recently was The River is Waiting by Wally Lamb. That was one I said where it made me cry in the last 2 pages. Excellent audiobook read by Jeremy Sisto. He's like an actor from the 90s. I recently just got a NetGalley account, and that's for book reviewers or podcasters where you can get copies of advanced reads. So I've been loading up on a couple of books that don't come out until later in the year, so I'm excited for some of those reads to come up, and patiently waiting for Jeff Zentner to send me Love Like Apples. So hoping that one comes.
That's exciting.
I almost wrote that down, but I'm like, I'll let Mike have that one.
Yep. All right, so I think that brings us to our bullshit topic of the week, which is about high school, since this book took place when most of us were in high school, so years around when we were in high school. Some of us, it was the exact years we were in high school.
It was the same age for all of us. You can say
I had the same senior year and same freshman year as them.
Yep. Just, different institutions.
Put you in institution.
So we'll start with our first question. What music did you listen to in high school? I will start with Sarah.
So much like now, I listen to rap a lot. Jay-Z, Nelly, 50 Cent was big. And then R&B, especially Usher back then. And then I was big into like punk pop. So like Blink-182, New Found Glory, anything that was a little whiny and made you feel things. And then I also, I had a lot of heartbreaks and emotions. And so I was really into like Stained. It's been a while. I was like on repeat on my radio all the time. So kind of a wide range.
It's been a while.
Yep. That I used to just drive around. Me and my friend Sarah would just drive around and cry. Like that's all that song reminds me of. So, high school. But yeah, so eclectic music. But yeah, big rap. I mean, rap was most of it.
Lynn?
Maroon 5, Songs About Jane. I would drive my car out to a special secret spot in Granby and listen to the CD. Specifically, She Will Be Loved, and I'd be in all in my feels about I know where you hide alone in your car because no one knew where I hid. I would feel all deep and introspective, like I was the main character.
I love being a girl.
So yeah, Sarah, same. Driving around crying.
Yep.
Anything else? You're just going to stick with Maroon 5?
Obviously, I had a mostly rock and rap. Use a Hoe in Mike J's car. Lots of Ludacris.
B?
So for me, back in the Stone Age high school, that was, of course, I will always have been listening to Alanis Morissette, but when I was in high school, it's exactly when Britney, Christina, Destiny's Child, and Sync all came out. So those were obviously huge influences. So we were less driving around crying and more driving around
dancing
in our seats.
Doing bye, bye, bye.
Yes.
For me, It was Dave Matthews. Went to a lot of Dave Matthews concerts back in high school. Definitely a good mix of 90s and early 2000s hip hop and pop. This is also a time when John Mayer released his first CD, so I remember listening to that a lot. Also like Lynn, but not crying in a secluded place, Maroon 5. And Good Charlotte was also a band that was in replay a lot for me.
Yeah.
What were your go-to movies or TV shows you watched on repeat, Brendan?
So back at the high school time, I'm going to throw out for a TV show, TRL. That's what had to be.
Woo!
I mean, it just had to be. And I would say for a movie, I'm going to throw out Cruel Intentions.
Ooh, good one.
It was the first DVD I ever bought. Lynn?
So for movie, I would say Mean Girls. It's just so iconic. For TV show, I have to say Boy Meets World. It was just such a comfort show for me. It was that long-lasting, enduring love, family themes, and the sister disappearing for several seasons with no one acknowledging that until she just came back one day. Also, Mr. Feeney.
He just turned 99, 100.
Yeah,
Really?
I saw something about that.
We named the tree outside our dorm room Mr. Feeney.
That's right. I forgot about that. Sarah?
For movie, it was kind of a tie between Clueless and Moulin Rouge. For TV show, 100% Dawson's Creek. We used to pile into my sister's bed. It would be me, my mom, my sister, and my sister's ex-boyfriend, now best friend, Mike. And we would watch it. You know, we had like a date every, I think it was Wednesday nights to watch it. So
That's so sweet. I love that. Also, what is it with ex-boyfriends named Mike becoming best friends?
it's because they realize that if they don't like certain women, that they're probably gay and best friend material.
Funny. So go-to movie, I think we used to watch it at least every other weekend, was Dazed and Confused. I don't know why we watched that movie so much. Then TV show, this is about the time when like DVD box sets used to start coming out. So it was The Simpsons and Chappelle Show that were watched constantly. What job did you have in high school? And is the establishment still around? Brendan?
Hurtful. He knows it's not, the specific location is not still around, but my first job in high school was working at Staples on the Berlin Turnpike in Newington, which is now a Bob's Furniture. I'm not doing well with that fact, but
I'm sorry for your loss.
It is a recent development. It happened, late last year?
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually where him, Natalie, and Eric all worked together in high school. Lynn?
So my answer is going to be more like making me sound old than Brendan's by far. My first job was a 1-hour photo clerk at CBS in Suffield. Not only does that CBS no longer exist there, that career does not exist. After that, I went and worked at a go-karting place. That was much better. And it also doesn't exist anymore.
Is it you, or is it just the world?
Oh, God, my first big girl job at Prime. Prime doesn't exist anymore. It might be me.
Is it that?
Yeah. If you work for her, you better watch out. Sarah?
I worked in an X-ray file room for a few years.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was really fun. I worked with two of my guy friends. One of our friends' moms was the boss. It was really an awesome job. So basically, I went from cataloging X-rays to cataloging books in the library at college. So clearly, I have a type. And I don't know if it's still around. It's like now part of the, conglomerate of Hartford Healthcare, I think.
So I had 3 jobs in high school. Worked at Geisler's in Granby, and I know that's still there. That was when I worked at the longest.
And that's where Lynn would sit in her car listening to Maroon 5?
Yes, in the parking lot. watching me bring up groceries from the outside.
Mike, you were not the person I pined after. I can promise.
I also worked at a comic and baseball card store in Simsbury, which is no longer there.
Brand new information.
Yeah, I
And
never knew you did that.
and I also worked at a restaurant called Lobster Bisque that was in East Granby. That was a very
Oh.
short-lived restaurant. Do you remember that
was like
restaurant,
a
Lynn?
month.
Yeah.
Yes, it was not open for long. I also remember the Simsbury Cards and Comics
Yep.
with
And so
the Chinese food place right next door.
yes, Jason's House. That's
Yes.
the name of the Chinese place. Well, the Lobster Bisque had issues because the cook would get drunk half the night. So like half the nights, like the food was really good, and half the nights it was really, really bad. But that was my first intro to the restaurant industry, where I realized how good tips you could get for either serving or bartending. So that's why I went with serving jobs when I was in college.
Smart.
Yep. What was a trend in high school that you couldn't buy into, Lynn?
The heavily logoed merchandise. It looks so tacky. It looked tacky then. It looks tacky now. Now, I would love a Birkin bag, but the point of Birkin is that you know it when you see it. It's not advertised. Real wealth doesn't announce itself. And the Tiffany bling and Louis Vuitton bags that were everywhere when we were in high school, it just felt really try hard. Sorry, I'm judging. I'm judging.
Judgy. Brendan?
So hold on, let me take care of my dentures as I say this.
Yep.
I went with a beeper. Yes, I know. So many people had them.
I had a friend in high school who had one, but he also dabbled in drugs, so I think that was probably...
that you're a drug dealer?
So long time ago in the 1900s, people had beepers, and I was just like, all of your friends are in this school at this moment. None of them have access to a phone because I did get a cell phone in high school, but it was basically for when driving, if there was an emergency type situation. Like, you didn't use it for anything.
Oh, you had the brick, didn't you?
You couldn't text. So it was just like, what is this for other than emergency phone calls? So it's like, you're in school. Who's paging you? So I just never got it. So I did not join that trend.
Sarah?
I had a hard time with this mainly because I'm not very trendy for all that know me. But I wrote down Uggs, but I wasn't sure if that was quite the right time frame. But I never liked an Ugg.
I think Uggs may have been college for us.
I feel like it was end of high school for me because I am a year older than you, aka 2 months older than you. But yeah, so anyway, Uggs are dumb. Sorry for people who like them.
Oh, I love, so I don't like Uggs because they're popular. I like Uggs because they're super cozy and warm.
Exactly. I understand why people like them, but
Tom Brady was a spokesperson for them. Gross.
Goat.
Trash.
I had a hard time with this question, and so I went with like the super, super baggy jeans, like the Jenko jeans.
Oh, the Jenkos.
I love the boy in Janko jeans.
With their ass hanging halfway out.
Yep. And then I put this down, but then I think this was more of a college time thing, the double popped collar.
Ugh.
Mm.
And then one I fell victim to was frosted tips.
Well, I mean, you had to.
Yeah, I guess. What was your first car, and were you typically the driver or the passenger? Brendan?
My first car was a black Toyota Corolla, and I was the driver.
Lynn?
Volkswagen. It was a 95 green Jetta with decals across the front that said Volkswagen on it because hot girls drive Jettas. But no, I've always been a passenger princess. I hate driving, and usually Mike drove me around. We would go to the movies, and then we'd sneak in Cadbury mini eggs at 75% discount from CVS because I had a hookup.
Did you put the Volkswagen stickers on, or is that just how it came?
So my sister put them on, and then my sister went to college and I got the car.
Sarah?
My first car was a Toyota Echo, but it didn't last long because one night I hit black ice and flipped it over. And so then it became my mom's minivan.
Hot.
And ironically, even though I flipped over a car, but again, not my fault, black ice, I was the driver of my friends because I was quote, quote, the responsible one. And they liked that I paid attention to the road as we drove, which ironically now I am a passenger princess. I love it when anyone drives me around. So I did all my driving in high school.
My first car was a 1992 Chevy Lumina. It was white. It was John's car before mine. And the night before I was to buy it from him, he hit some guardrails with it and then thought he was slick and tried to back into the driveway to hide the damage. And then my parents saw it. like we wouldn't have discovered it, like
I miss
just getting it.
immediately. I miss the Lumina.
But I definitely got a discount on the car after, it was revealed what was done to it, including I had to get a new mirror for the car because he may have knocked the passenger side mirror off the car.
Oh my God, I just remembered you having to manual blinker your car because the blinker didn't work.
Yes.
Oh,
You had to put like.
so
Oh, you had. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were mean like he had to hold his arm out the window.
No, and for our listeners who couldn't see the gesture I was doing, it was up, down with my hand.
And if I remember correctly, that car got completely totaled because a plow just, excuse my pun, plowed into you. So you got a nice car after that.
Yeah, so it was a snowy day. So similar to Sarah with the black ice, this asshole decided he was going to plow his driveway and had trees all along the front of his house except the driveway. And so he had to have his plow and the front of his car in the middle of the road when it was blizzarding.
Cool.
And I ended up hitting it, and he pulled his truck back into his driveway and tried to tell the cop that I drove into his driveway and hit his truck.
Yep.
When you
What
could
a
see
jerk.
tire tracks. It was quite the event. My Aunt Donna was in the vehicle, and so it was good to have an adult there that was able to, kind of back me up in the situation. Also, it was like less than a mile from the house, so I guess it was kind of similar to the night road scenario.
Mine was also only a mile from my house, but I wasn't drinking.
Neither was I. I was actually coming back from Black Friday shopping. Do you still talk to or hang out with people from high school? Sarah?
Not so much. Me and one of my friends, we try to touch base every once in a while, but she lives across the country. And so, no, I mean, I was friends with the kids a year above me and a year below me. So it was one of those, I was glad when high school was done.
Lynn?
Nope, no, absolutely no one. No, I'm sorry.
Rude.
I took the best out of East Granby. What can I say?
Facts. Brendan?
I am very much best friends with someone I knew from high school. So, and her husband, who, as you mentioned earlier, we all work together at Staples. So we're close and still friendly with some people from high school, like a very, very, very small handful. And the rest I have never seen since.
Yeah, I can confidently say the only person I really talked to is Lynn from high school. I mean, I have people as friends on Facebook, but I don't think I've seen a person from high school except for Lynn, and who knows how long.
I feel special.
You are.
Lynn did go to our 20-year reunion, so she did see some people.
I did. Yeah, it was put on by someone who was not involved in student council at all, but he was so nice. He reached out to literally every single person we went to high school with, and he was trying to make it kind of as big and as welcoming as possible. So I wanted to be there and support, and it was nice. Some people definitely have not changed at all, which is a little sad, but some people, like, it was wonderful just seeing the great lives that they built themselves.
That's the thing. While I didn't love high school, I do love seeing that like people grew up and have like great lives. Like it is nice to see the growth, but like you said too, there are those that didn't.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, could not care less about these people.
Well, that's the thing. I've never gone to and likely won't. I mean, maybe when I'm older. Like I love seeing my dad. He just went to some of his like bigger number reunions, and like that's cool. I think once you get a little older, but right now I think Facebook too. Also, you see everything.
Yeah, I think social media kind of really ruined the allure of going to a reunion just because you can find out what everyone's doing at any moment.
Yeah.
All right, so what 3 things do you miss from that time in your life, Sarah?
Summer vacation. A lack of responsibility, even though I thought I was so stressed out in high school, but a lack of real responsibility. And then playing tennis.
Yeah, you can still play tennis, right?
You need people to play with.
I'm probably not that good, so you probably wouldn't.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I know people are willing to play, but Craig has tried a few times, but it's a little.
I bet I'd be amazing at tennis.
I'm sure you would be. You have to run around a lot. Last time I played with my sister, because my sister's a good tennis player too, I broke her ankle. So,
Wow.
I didn't. She broke her own ankle, but I did a tricky shot, and then she, anyways.
Well then.
Yep.
Lynn?
So I miss the stability and the safety net. I was still so young that when I made a mistake, it just really didn't count against me. My parents could save me. And I also miss the potential. Falling in love feels absolutely incredible. It's such a high. And I used to wonder who I would marry and what my life would look like by the time I was 30. By 40, I assumed that I'd be close to death and my life would be over. And then finally, I miss that tight little body and those perky tits I didn't have to work for. I miss that everything in my body used to work the way it should. My knees didn't crack. I didn't pee myself just a little bit when jumping on the trampoline. Life was easier.
Are you doing a lot of trampoline jumping now?
Last weekend, we went to the trampoline park for a birthday party, and I got on the trampoline and went, "Oh God! Oh my pelvic floor is very different." Who knew having a child would change things?
Oh, I love that journey for you. At least you didn't shit your pants, right?
I didn't. It was just a little bit, just a little bit.
Brendan?
Things I miss: the no bills and responsibility life. I miss not having to decide what to eat for dinner, because that is just the worst thing in the world. And I
bet Fred is a great cook.
And I miss being naive on things like adulting and what all came with it. I think, like most people, I couldn't wait to grow up, quote unquote. And now I'm just like, damn, that was just a bait and switch, wasn't it?
Yep.
And my pelvic floor.
So for my first one, I said gas prices, but I kind of want to change it to summer vacations because when Sarah said that, I was like, oh, I miss having 3 months off and not having to do a thing.
You didn't really, though, because you worked.
Yeah, but then I could go drink in the woods.
Ew.
You can go drink in the woods now.
Yeah, but then I have responsibilities like work and stuff.
Ticks, bugs.
Fair.
No, thank you.
Like what Brendan said, meals decided for me. I hate figuring out what we're going to eat for every dinner of every week. It's exhausting.
That's why I do Blue Apron. It's so easy to not have to plan.
And my last one is a tie. It is the McDonald's dollar menu. So I can get a double cheeseburger for $1. Or Friday nights going to Blockbuster and figure out what movie I was going to rent.
Oh, that was amazing. I miss Blockbuster.
Or for us in East Granby, it was Video Galaxy in the Geisler's Plaza.
We had both in Rocky Hill.
Oh. What 3 things don't you miss from that time, Lynn?
The pressure to live up to your potential against the unknown. There's so much opportunity and pressure to choose correctly at such a young age. I picked my college at 17 and my career path. I was a teenager and a child, and yet those are the choices that I've lived with for the past 2+ decades. I picked my husband at 18. It's absurd to have that much finality in your choices when you have so little life experience. I also don't miss the small town. I don't miss the gossip. And I just feel like you don't grow when you're stuck in one place and around people who don't let you change. And I also don't miss the bad relationship choices I made back then. Mike can agree with me on that.
He's had a
So
few
obviously, Mike J is incredible, and I'm so grateful he still lets me hang out with him. And I love him so, so much. But every other decision I made back then, I would have done things so much differently. I wish I was braver rather than just kind of going with what was easy.
Brendan?
Things I don't miss, most of the people. That it is what it is. I don't miss homework. I actually do enjoy being able to leave work and then just be done for the night. So those types of things I like not having to do. As far as other things, it wasn't a bad era. So I don't have too many things that I don't miss. I don't want to go back to it. I feel like it's contributed to who I become today, blah, 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 blah. But it wasn't too awful. Mostly the people.
Sarah?
Things I don't miss from high school time. High school. No. I'll agree with Brendan. It wasn't the worst time ever. I just was glad to be done with it. And the main thing, right, read the question other than saying just high school in general, but crying. I used to cry a lot in high school, and I think I've grown up and learned not to cry about every last thing. My poor dad, he lived in a household with 3 women who cried a lot.
And I think that's just being a teenage girl.
Yeah,
I think that's so normal.
There's a lot of feelings I don't think I was outside of the ordinary for crying. There is just a lot of tears in high school. So
puberty's hard.
Yeah.
Was that 3?
Yeah.
All right. So my 3 kind of mentioned being in school for 7 hours, having to sit there for 7 hours and learn about things you don't care about, and what B said, having homework after you left. I tried at one point to go for my insurance CPCU exam, and I got through the first class, and I was like, no, I don't want to think about insurance when I leave work. I don't want to have to take extra tests. I don't want to have to read these stupid books. No, pass on all that. Brendan kind of alluded to this with not wanting to see the people. It was feeling the need to be friendly with everyone, and kind of ties in with Lynn said about small town. There was just so few of us that if you were problematic, you were just going to be an issue for 4 years. So it was feeling that need to go with the flow and just get through those 4 years of high school. And lastly, I'll say feeling the pressure to date women.
Oh, yeah. Oh, how many times did you and I date? I was your beard.
Yes, you were. And you're still around.
Because you just love me so much.
Yep. I will say a bonus that I could not go back to a time where I didn't have streaming or internet at my fingertips at any time.
Cheers to that.
Yeah. Imagine trying to do this back then.
Yeah.
Ironically, I call this my homework. So we do.
You do call this your homework.
This is much more enjoyable homework.
Yep.
Yeah, this is fun work.
Well, I do have to say that there will be no rapid response segment for this call.
Because you didn't do your homework.
I didn't. I forgot to prep it.
So we should do one for Mike.
We always say that, but
yeah, I actually was thinking about that for this episode. I forgot to ask you guys if you wanted to do it. So the next one, we will.
Mike, Charleston Chew or Snickers?
Oh, Charleston Chew by far.
He does not like Snickers. He's a very weird person.
I don't like Snickers either.
Enough said.
But yeah, the next one, I don't know if the 3 of us are on another one coming up.
We don't have the schedule.
Oh, for the second half of the year? Yeah, I should probably put that together.
Sorry.
Rude.
But someone needs to do their homework.
I know. But
I can tell who the A students were here.
I guess I'm the fail. But yeah, an episode coming up, we will definitely do one where you guys can rapid response things to me. Outside of that,
it's just going to be what's for dinner tomorrow. What's for dinner the next night? What's for dinner the next night?
That'd be a really hard one to come up with 5 in a row.
I mean, I do that now.
Mike, dating women are doing 6 hours of homework. Go.
6 hours of homework.
One of your ex-girlfriends became like born again Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Mike ruined her.
Yeah. Sorry to that individual, but it is what it is.
I mean, she might be happy.
She might be.
I mean, I don't know how anyone could be happy without you in their life.